Your brain is lying to you right now about what's hard. It's telling you that discipline is a character trait you either have or you don't. It's whispering that some people are just built different, that they wake up motivated while you hit snooze. It's convincing you that the resistance you feel is evidence of weakness. Every single part of that story is neurologically false. Olympians feel the same resistance you do. They just flip one neural switch. That's it. Not willpower, not genetics, not some mystical motivation gene. A switch. What if discipline wasn't willpower but rewiring? What if everything you've been told about motivation, about pushing through, about just trying harder, was not only wrong but actively making discipline harder? What if the very act of forcing yourself was reinforcing the neural pathways that make discipline feel impossible? Here's what nobody tells you. Why do some people crave 5 a.m. workouts while you can't start a simple task? How does dopamine betrayal work in your brain, sabotaging your best intentions before you even begin? What's the 90-second rule that elite performers use to bypass resistance entirely? And here's the biggest question of all. Why does trying harder make discipline worse? You're 8 minutes from understanding the switch, and you're 90 days from flipping it permanently. Everything changes after that. Your brain stops fighting you. It starts working for you. Hard things become the things you crave. But first, you need to understand why everything you've tried so far has failed. Let me tell you about a Navy SEAL trainee. Call him Marcus. Week 3 of Hell Week, water temperature 52 degrees. Been awake for 96 hours straight. His body was fine. Muscle tissue intact, no stress fractures. Cardiovascular system performing. Blood work showed he had plenty left in the tank. But he rang the bell. He quit. The instructors weren't surprised. They never are. They can predict who quits with 87% accuracy, and it has nothing to do with physical capability. They're watching something else entirely. They're watching brain patterns. When researchers put quitters and finishers through brain scans, they found something remarkable. The difference wasn't in the pain centers. It wasn't in physical tolerance. It was in a tiny region of the brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. The finishers had more activity there, more density, more neural real estate devoted to voluntary difficulty. Here's what that means for you. Discipline isn't about toughness. It's about circuitry. And Marcus? He went through Hell Week again 2 years later after working specifically on that brain region. He graduated top of his class. Same body, different brain. That's the switch. The willpower myth is killing your progress. You've been told your entire life that discipline is about forcing yourself, about grinding through, about having enough grit or determination or mental strength. You've been told that successful people simply have more willpower than you do. That's not just wrong. It's backwards. Willpower is a finite resource that depletes with use. There was a study done with Israeli judges reviewing parole cases. At the start of the day, they granted parole to about 65% of cases. By mid-afternoon, that number dropped to nearly zero. Then after a food break, it jumped back up. Same judges, same types of cases, different levels of decision-making capacity. Your willpower operates exactly like muscle glycogen during a workout. You have a tank of it in the morning. Every decision you make drains it. Every temptation you resist drains it. Every task you force yourself to start drains it. By 3 p.m., your tank is empty, and suddenly the couch looks irresistible, and that report you promised yourself you'd finish feels impossible. This is why Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day. Not because he loved black turtlenecks. Because every clothing decision in the morning was one less unit of willpower available for actually important decisions. He understood something most people don't. Discipline isn't about having more willpower. It's about designing your life so you need less of it. Your brain performs a cost-benefit analysis 11 times per second. Most of this happens unconsciously. Your anterior cingulate cortex is constantly calculating. Is this action worth the effort? It's measuring the perceived difficulty against the perceived reward. And here's the problem. Your brain is designed to be conservative with energy. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. For 200,000 years, humans faced genuine food scarcity. Calories were hard to come by. Wasting energy on unnecessary effort could mean death. Your brain evolved to be lazy, not because there's something wrong with you, because being lazy kept your ancestors alive. Every time you feel resistance to starting a workout, your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It's saying, wait, you want to burn calories for no survival reason? That's dangerous. Let's conserve this energy in case we need to run from a predator or hunt for food. The fact that you live in a world of abundant calories and no predators doesn't matter. Your brain is still running on 200,000-year-old software. But here's where it gets interesting. That anterior mid-cingulate cortex, the discipline switch, it can override this conservation instinct. When it's activated, your brain recalculates the cost-benefit analysis. Suddenly, the workout isn't a wasteful expenditure of energy. It's rewarding. It's valuable. It's something you want to do. Lazy isn't a personality trait. It's a symptom of an inactive discipline switch. When researchers put people in brain scanners and asked them to do difficult tasks, they could literally see the difference. In people with weak discipline, the resistance lit up like fireworks. Huge amounts of neural activity in the avoidance centers. But in people with strong discipline, something fascinating happened. The resistance centers were quiet. The reward centers were firing. Discipline feels effortless when the switch is activated. That's not motivation. That's neurology. Now let's talk about dopamine betrayal. This is probably the single biggest reason why discipline feels impossible for you right now, and you don't even know it's happening. Your baseline dopamine levels have been hijacked by your environment, and it's destroying your ability to find anything rewarding that requires effort. Dopamine is not the pleasure chemical. That's a common misconception. Dopamine is the motivation chemical. It's what makes you want things. When dopamine is released, you feel anticipation, excitement, drive. But here's the critical part. Dopamine operates on a baseline and peak system. Your baseline is your default level throughout the day. Peaks are spikes above that baseline that create motivation. Modern life has artificially inflated your baseline. You check your phone and get a dopamine hit. You scroll social media and get a hit. You watch Netflix and get a hit. You eat processed food and get a hit. Notification, hit. Video, hit. Snack, hit. Your brain is bathed in dopamine all day long from these supernormal stimuli. When your baseline is chronically elevated, you develop tolerance. Just like drug tolerance, you need bigger and bigger hits to feel anything. This is why you can watch an inspiring video about someone running a marathon and feel motivated for about 90 seconds, then do absolutely nothing. The video gave you a peak, but the peak wasn't high enough above your already elevated baseline to drive actual behavior. And here's the really insidious part. Activities that require effort, like going to the gym or working on a difficult project, these release dopamine too. But they release it slowly and after the effort. They can't compete with TikTok. They can't compete with the instant gratification of your phone. Your brain does its cost-benefit analysis and says, I could work hard for a small dopamine reward later, or I could scroll Instagram for a massive dopamine reward right now. The choice is obvious. This is dopamine betrayal. Your natural reward system has been hijacked. The things that would actually improve your life can't generate enough reward signal to motivate action. You're not weak. You're not lazy. You're neurologically outgunned. But there's a way to fix it, and we'll get to that. First, you need to understand the discipline paradox. Your species survived because you avoided unnecessary effort. Your ancestors who conserved energy were the ones who made it through harsh winters. The ones who burned energy frivolously died off. You are descended from energy conservers, from strategic lazy people. Your brain's primary job, neurologically speaking, is to keep you alive with minimum effort. It's supposed to stop you from wasting energy. The resistance you feel isn't personal failure. It's your brain working exactly as designed. The problem is that the design is outdated. You don't live in a world of scarcity anymore. You live in a world where the biggest threats to your survival are chronic diseases caused by too little effort, not too much. The discipline paradox is this. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You don't feel like working out, then work out. You work out, then feel motivated. But your brain is convinced that you should feel motivated first. It's waiting for the signal that never comes. Meanwhile, you're judging yourself for not feeling motivated, which creates shame, which further depletes your already limited willpower. Stop judging the resistance. The resistance is your brain doing its job correctly. The question isn't how do I eliminate resistance. The question is how do I act despite it. That's where the switch comes in. Think about your own life for a moment. How many times has willpower failed you? How many gym memberships? It's not you. It's your approach. You've been trying to win a neurological game with the wrong strategy. You've been relying on a finite resource, willpower, when you should have been building infinite infrastructure. You've been fighting your brain when you should have been reprogramming it. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and the alarm goes off. Right now, what happens? Your hand reaches out, probably still half asleep, and hits snooze. Then 9 minutes later, it happens again, maybe 3 or 4 times. Each snooze drains willpower. Each negotiation with yourself depletes the tank. By the time you finally drag yourself out of bed, you've already lost the day's first battle. Now imagine this instead. The alarm goes off. Before your conscious mind even fully engages, your body is already moving. Feet hit the floor. You're up. No negotiation, no internal debate, no willpower required. It just happens automatically. The same way you automatically brush your teeth without having a 10-minute internal argument about whether you really need to. That's what activated discipline feels like. It's not forced. It's automatic. The switch transforms resistance into neutral action. You're not overcoming your brain. You're working with it. Here's what's about to happen. You're going to learn how to map your specific resistance patterns. Because everyone's discipline blockers are slightly different. Some people have no problem starting but can't maintain. Others can maintain forever once they start but struggle with initiation. Some people avoid entirely. Some people overanalyze until the moment passes. You need to know your pattern before you can fix it. This isn't one size fits all. The discipline switch exists in everyone's brain, but the path to activating it is unique to your neurology, your history, your current environment, and your specific resistance signature. There are 4 main resistance profiles. The starter struggles with initiation, but once moving can maintain momentum. If this is you, your prefrontal cortex has an activation lag. You need external forcing functions and accountability to get started. But once you're in motion, you're fine. The fader is the opposite. You start strong. New gym membership, you're there every day for 2 weeks. Then week 3, you miss Monday. By week 4, you've stopped going. This is dopamine prediction error sensitivity. Your brain habituates quickly to rewards. You need progress visibility and micro milestones to maintain motivation. The avoider procrastinates everything. You know what you need to do. You want to do it, but when the moment comes, you find yourself doing literally anything else. This is amygdala hyperactivity. Your brain perceives tasks as threats. You need fear reframing and exposure ladders to desensitize the threat response. The perfectionist can't start because it won't be perfect. You overplan, overanalyze, over-research. You're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. This is excessive anterior cingulate cortex activity. You need good enough protocols and time constraints to override the analysis loop. Which one are you? Maybe you're a combination. Most people are. But there's usually one dominant pattern. Identifying it is the first step to designing your specific discipline activation protocol. Beyond resistance profiles, you need to understand your discipline operating system. Your chronotype matters enormously. Morning people and evening people have genuinely different neurological rhythms. If you're naturally an evening person and you're trying to force yourself into a 5 a.m. routine, you're fighting your biology. That's not discipline. That's self-sabotage. Your ultradian rhythms, these 90-minute cycles of high and low focus, they're not something you can willpower through. Your brain naturally oscillates between focused and diffuse modes. Elite performers work with these cycles, not against them. They do deep work in 90-minute blocks, then rest for 15 to 20 minutes. Trying to power through for 4 hours straight doesn't make you more disciplined. It makes you less effective. Environmental cues are running your behavior more than you realize. Your couch triggers relaxation mode. Your bed triggers sleep mode. Your desk, if you've ever watched Netflix there, triggers entertainment mode. These are conditioned associations. Your brain sees the environment and automatically loads the behavior pattern associated with it. If you've been trying to be productive in spaces where you've historically been unproductive, you're fighting conditioned associations every single moment. Social context completely changes your effort tolerance. Some people perform better alone. Some need others around. Some need active accountability. Some just need passive presence. Understanding your social discipline needs isn't weakness. It's self-awareness. Then there are the hidden discipline drains. Sleep debt is probably the biggest one. If you're sleeping less than 7 hours a night, your prefrontal cortex is impaired. That's not metaphorical. Brain scans show reduced activity in the discipline and decision-making centers. You're trying to build discipline with a damaged tool. It won't work. One night of bad sleep creates a 14% cognitive deficit. That compounds daily. Miss sleep 3 nights in a row and you're essentially drunk in terms of decision-making capacity. Yet you're judging yourself for lacking discipline. You don't lack discipline. You lack sleep. Nutritional gaps destroy discipline too. Magnesium deficiency, which affects nearly half of adults, directly impairs stress regulation. B vitamin deficiency impacts energy metabolism. Omega-3 deficiency reduces neuroplasticity. You can't build new neural pathways without the raw materials. Trying to activate discipline on a nutrient-deficient diet is like trying to build muscle without protein. Inflammation and brain fog are often connected. Chronic inflammation from poor diet, lack of movement, or unmanaged stress creates cytokines that directly impair cognitive function. You know that feeling where your brain just feels cloudy? Where you can't think clearly or make decisions? That's not laziness. That's inflammation. Unresolved decisions create background cognitive load. Every open loop in your life, every unmade decision, every unfinished task is taking up working memory. Your brain is constantly scanning these open loops, trying to remind you. This is like running 10 applications in the background on your computer. Everything slows down. Close the loops. Make the decisions. Finish or delete the tasks. Free up your cognitive resources for discipline. Relationship stress suppresses the prefrontal cortex. When you're in conflict with someone important to you, your amygdala is hyperactive and your rational brain is suppressed. Trying to build discipline during relationship chaos is like trying to study for an exam during a fire alarm. Address the relationship first. Digital addiction is probably destroying more discipline than anything else. The average person spends over 6 hours per day on screens, mostly in passive consumption. That's 6 hours of elevated dopamine baseline. 6 hours of training your brain that effort is unnecessary for reward. 6 hours of weakening the discipline switch. We'll address this directly, but know that your phone is likely your biggest discipline enemy. Now let's talk about your discipline lifespan patterns. Because your current discipline capacity was shaped by decades of conditioning, your childhood reward structures are still operating. If your parents praised you for achievements but not effort, you learned that outcomes matter more than process. That creates performance anxiety and avoidance of tasks where success isn't guaranteed. If you were punished for failure, you learned that trying and failing is worse than not trying. That creates perfectionism and procrastination. If you were rewarded inconsistently, sometimes for effort and sometimes only for outcomes, you learned that effort doesn't reliably predict reward. That creates learned helplessness. The academic system embedded specific effort patterns. If you succeeded easily in school, you never learned to struggle. When you finally hit difficulty, you didn't have the discipline muscles to push through. If you struggled in school, you learned that effort doesn't equal results, and you stopped trying. Either pattern undermines adult discipline. Your first job environment embedded work identity. If it was toxic, you associate effort with suffering. If it was supportive, you associate effort with growth. These associations are still active in your nervous system. Major life transitions disrupt neural pathways. Moving, relationship changes, career shifts, health crises. They all reset your patterns. If you're in or recently through a transition, your discipline capacity is naturally lower. That's not failure, that's biology. You need to rebuild from a new baseline, and here's the most important question. What is your current life season? Are you in a season of growth, maintenance, or survival? Because discipline expectations need to match reality. If you're in survival mode, dealing with crisis or massive stress, maintenance is winning. Expecting growth-level discipline will only create shame that further depletes you. Let's do something right now. Pause for a moment and honestly assess. What's your resistance profile? Are you a starter, a fader, an avoider, or a perfectionist? Don't judge it. Just identify it. What's your chronotype? Are you naturally a morning person or evening person? What are your biggest discipline drains right now? Sleep debt, nutritional gaps, relationship stress, digital addiction, unresolved decisions? Pick the top 3. Write them down if you can, because you can't fix what you won't acknowledge. Now imagine you're standing in. This mirror doesn't judge, it just reflects. And what it's showing you is this. You're not broken. You're untrained. Your brain has massive potential that hasn't been activated. The switch exists. You just haven't learned how to flip it yet. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Olympians wake up and don't feel like training. Successful entrepreneurs wake up and don't feel like working. Authors don't feel like writing. The difference isn't that they have motivation and you don't. The difference is they have a 90-second protocol that bypasses the motivation. Requirement entirely elite. Performers understand something fundamental. Initiation is 80% of discipline. If you can get started, momentum takes over. The first 90 seconds are everything. That's the window. That's where discipline lives or dies. Not in hour 3 of the workout when you're tired. In second 5 when your brain is screaming at you to stay on the couch. The neurological start button is real. It's a mechanism in your brain that can override resistance. When you activate it, your prefrontal cortex takes control from your limbic system. Your rational brain overrides your emotional brain. Suddenly, action becomes possible without feeling motivated. Think about activation energy in chemistry. To start a fire, you need a spark. Once the fire is burning, it's self-sustaining. But without that initial spark, no fire. Behavior works the same way. You need activation energy to initiate. Once you're moving, you can keep moving. The 90-second ignition protocol is your spark. Here's what happens in your brain during those 90 seconds. When you first think about doing something difficult, your amygdala fires. That's your threat detection system. It's saying this is going to be uncomfortable. Avoid. Your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone. You feel resistance. This entire cascade happens in milliseconds, before your conscious mind even processes what's happening. If you listen to the resistance, if you negotiate with it, you're giving your amygdala control. The resistance will win. It always does. Because your amygdala is faster and louder than your prefrontal cortex. But if you act within 90 seconds, before the negotiation even starts, your prefrontal cortex can override the amygdala. Movement changes neurochemistry. Action shifts brain state. The 5 ignition keys are simple but devastatingly effective. First, physiology. Movement changes mind, not the other way around. You don't think yourself into action. You act yourself into a new way of thinking. Do 10 jumping jacks right now. Or splash cold water on your face. Or do box breathing. 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds hold. Change your physiology and your brain state follows. The diving reflex is particularly powerful. When cold water hits your face, your nervous system automatically shifts from sympathetic to parasympathetic. Your heart rate drops. Your mind clears. This is a built-in reset button. Use it. Second key, the micro-commitment. Don't promise yourself an hour workout. Promise 2 minutes. Your brain can't argue with 2 minutes. Just put on gym shoes. That's it. Don't even commit to leaving the house. Just shoes. Once shoes are on, your brain recalculates. Okay, shoes are on. Might as well go outside. Once outside, might as well start walking. Once walking, might as well go to the gym. 2 minutes becomes 20 minutes, becomes a full workout. Not because you forced it, because momentum is real. This is the magic of the 2-minute rule. It bypasses resistance by making the commitment so small that your brain can't justify refusing. And here's the neurological beauty of it. Once you start, your brain releases dopamine from the act of following through on a commitment. That dopamine fuels the next action, then the next. Momentum compounds. Third key, environmental preloading. Make the first step of your discipline literally one physical action. Not 5 steps. 1. If you want to work out in the morning, sleep in your gym clothes. Not gym clothes laid out next to the bed. On your body. The only thing between you and working out is standing up. That's 1 step. If you want to write, have your laptop open to a blank document on your desk. Not closed laptop, not laptop in bag. Open document ready, cursor blinking. Sit down and the only action required is typing 1 word. Remove every possible friction point. Distance matters. Every additional step between intention and action is an opportunity for resistance to win. Make good choices inevitable and bad choices require effort. That's environment design. Fourth key, the countdown hack. When you feel resistance, count backward from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then move. Physically move your body on 1. This works because counting interrupts rumination. Your brain can't maintain an anxiety loop and count simultaneously. Counting creates a pattern interrupt. And the physical movement on 1 creates commitment. Mel Robbins popularized this as the 5-second rule. And it works because of this cognitive pattern break. Your brain is stuck in a resistance loop. The countdown breaks the loop. The movement on 1 initiates the behavior before your brain can restart the loop. Fifth key, identity activation. Before you act, remind yourself who you are, not who you want to be. Who you are right now. Say it out loud. I am someone who works out. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who does hard things. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is activating your identity-level self-concept. Research shows that third-person self-talk is even more powerful. LeBron James famously does this. He'll say, "LeBron, you got this." Talking to yourself in third person creates psychological distance that reduces emotion and increases performance. It sounds weird. It works. Or create an alter ego. When you're about to do something hard, step into your disciplined alter ego. Give them a name if it helps. Some people have an avatar they embody. Athletes do this all the time. Kobe had the Black Mamba. When he stepped on the court, he wasn't Kobe, he was Mamba. That identity shift changed his neurology. Now here's how you put it together. Your personal 90-second ignition sequence might look like this. You feel resistance to working out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand up, splash cold water on face, put on gym shoes. Say out loud, I am someone who works out. Walk out the door. That's 90 seconds. That's the switch. Or maybe it's different for you. Maybe it's 10 jumping jacks, then the countdown, then shoes, then your workout playlist, then out the door. The specific sequence matters less than having a sequence. Consistency is what builds the neural pathway. Do the same sequence every time, and eventually it becomes automatic. The sequence itself becomes the trigger. You're not trying to feel motivated. You're not trying to overcome resistance. You're not trying to convince yourself that you want to do it. You're just following your sequence. That's it. The sequence bypasses the entire motivation question. Practice your sequence every single day for 7 days, even if it's for something small. Even if you don't complete the full task afterward, just practice the sequence. You're building a neural pathway. You're training your brain that sequence equals action. After 7 days, the pathway is visible. After 30 days, it's a highway. And here's what you need to understand about resistance. Feeling resistance means you're at the growth edge. Your anterior mid-cingulate cortex only grows when you voluntarily choose difficulty. Every time you feel resistance and act anyway, you're literally building brain matter in the discipline center. Every time you listen to resistance and avoid, you're reinforcing the avoidance pathway. Reframe it. Right now, when you feel resistance, you probably think, ugh, I don't want to do this. What if instead you thought, perfect, I feel resistance, which means my discipline muscle is about to grow. The feeling doesn't change. Your interpretation does. And interpretation changes neurology. Discomfort is the admission price for self-respect. You can't respect yourself if you consistently break promises to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and then don't, you're training your brain that your word means nothing. That erodes self-trust. That creates shame. That depletes willpower even faster. But every time you feel resistance and do it anyway, you're proving to yourself that you're someone who keeps commitments. That builds self-trust. That generates self-respect. That activates the discipline switch. It's not about the workout or the project or the task. It's about proving to yourself that you're the kind of person who does what they say they'll do. Think about someone you deeply respect. Why do you respect them? Probably because they're consistent. They follow through. They do what they say they will. You trust them because their actions match their words. Now think about your relationship with yourself. Do your actions match your words? If not, how can you respect yourself? How can you trust yourself? This isn't about shame. This is about causation. Self-respect comes from self-trust. Self-trust comes from integrity. Integrity means alignment between values and actions. Discipline is how you build integrity with yourself. Now let's talk about what's probably destroying your discipline more than anything else. Your dopamine system is hijacked, and until you fix it, everything else will be exponentially harder. This is non-negotiable. Your reward system has been rewired by modern supernormal stimuli, and it's making everything that requires effort feel unrewarding. Your current state is this. Your dopamine baseline is artificially elevated. You've been getting constant hits all day, every day, for years. Your brain has adapted. It's built tolerance. The receptors have downregulated. You need bigger and bigger hits just to feel normal. This is identical to drug addiction, except society doesn't recognize it as addiction because everyone has it. When your baseline is this high, natural rewards don't register. Working out releases dopamine, but it's a slow, moderate release that happens after effort. That can't compete with the instant massive spike you get from checking Instagram. Your brain compares the two options and says, obviously, Instagram, every single time. You physically cannot feel reward from effort-based activities when your baseline is elevated. It's not about willpower. It's about receptor sensitivity. You need a dopamine reset. The 30-day dopamine detox is simple but not easy. You're removing all supernormal stimuli for 30 days. No social media. No pornography. No junk food. No entertainment binging. No video games. No mindless scrolling. Cold turkey. Week 1 is withdrawal. You'll be irritable, anxious, bored out of your mind. Your brain is screaming for the hits it's used to. This is normal. This is addiction withdrawal. It passes. Week 2, the fog starts to lift. You'll have moments of clarity. Simple things start to feel slightly interesting. A conversation, a walk. These things have always been rewarding, but your numbed receptors couldn't detect it. Week 3, sensitivity is returning. You'll notice that working out actually feels good. That making progress on a project creates satisfaction. Your reward system is recalibrating. Week 4 and beyond, natural rewards feel significant again. You can feel the dopamine from effort-based activities. Your brain's cost-benefit analysis has changed. Suddenly, discipline doesn't require as much force because the reward signal is strong enough to motivate action. This reset is mandatory. Without it, you're trying to activate discipline with a broken reward system. It won't work. You'll rely entirely on willpower, which is finite and exhausting. Fix the reward system first, and discipline becomes 10 times easier. But here's where most people mess up the reset. They complete 30 days, their sensitivity returns, then they immediately go back to the same supernormal stimuli that created the problem. Baseline shoots back up in days. They're right back where they started. The reset is not a cleanse. It's a recalibration that teaches you what normal should feel like. After the reset, you reintroduce things strategically and minimally. Maybe you allow social media for 20 minutes on weekends only. Maybe you watch one show per week instead of nightly binging. Maybe you have junk food once a week instead of daily. The goal is to keep your baseline low so that natural rewards remain rewarding. This is maintenance forever. Once you feel how good life is with a normal baseline, you won't want to go back. But it requires vigilance. The modern environment is engineered to hijack you. You have to actively resist it. Strategic dopamine timing is the next piece. When you use dopamine-spiking activities matters enormously. Listening to your favorite music before your workout feels good, but it actually reduces workout performance. That dopamine spike before the effort signals to your brain that you already got the reward. Your motivation to do the actual work decreases, but music during the workout, that enhances performance. The dopamine during effort helps you push harder. It's the timing that matters. Same activity, different neurological impact. This is Andrew Huberman's research. Pre-task dopamine kills motivation. Post-task dopamine reinforces behavior. If you want to build discipline around a behavior, celebrate after, not before. Reward the effort, not the intention. Caffeine timing works the same way. Drinking coffee before you start working can actually reduce focus because you're getting a dopamine and adrenaline spike before effort. Your brain experiences the peak, then has to work during the come-down. But having caffeine during work or right as you begin can enhance focus because the peak coincides with effort. The principle is called reward prediction error. Your brain learns from unexpected rewards. If the reward comes before effort, your brain learns that no effort is required. If the reward comes after effort, your brain learns that effort produces reward. You're training your brain what to predict. Here's how you apply this. When you complete a workout, celebrate. Not with junk food necessarily, but with acknowledgement. Tell yourself, that's what disciplined people do. Feel pride. Let yourself experience the positive emotion. That's dopamine. That's reinforcing the behavior. Cold plunge after hard effort is particularly powerful. The cold exposure triggers a massive dopamine release that lasts hours. Your brain associates the effort with this prolonged reward state. It's like stamping the neural pathway with a highlighter, but scrolling motivational content before your workout? That's self-sabotage. You got a dopamine hit from the content. Your brain feels like it already did something. Motivation to actually work out drops. This is why people watch fitness transformation videos and feel motivated, but never go to the gym. They got the hit from the video. The brain's job is done. Building intrinsic motivation circuits is about making the activity itself rewarding, not just the outcome. This comes from autonomy, mastery, and purpose. You need to feel like you have choice, like you're getting better, and like it matters. Autonomy means you're in control. Even within a disciplined practice, give yourself choices. Don't just follow someone else's workout program. Choose exercises. Choose when you go. Choose what you listen to. The perception of control is neurologically rewarding. Mastery means you're developing skill. Track your progress. Notice yourself getting stronger, faster, better. The brain loves advancement. Learning itself is dopaminergic. If you're not progressing or can't see progress, motivation dies. Purpose means it connects to something meaningful. Why does this discipline matter? How does it serve your values? If you can't answer that, your brain will deprioritize it. But if working out means you'll be healthy for your kids, suddenly it's loaded with meaning. Meaning creates motivation. And here's the identity level shift. You're not trying to achieve fitness. You're becoming a fit person. The outcome is nice, but the identity is the reward. Every time you work out, you're confirming to yourself, I am someone who works out. That confirmation is intrinsically rewarding. You're becoming the person you want to be. That's deeper than any outcome. This is what self-concept confirmation bias does. Once you believe you're a disciplined person, you subconsciously look for evidence to confirm it. Every disciplined action is more proof. The brain loves being right, so it keeps generating disciplined actions to confirm the identity. You've created a positive feedback loop. Building an anti-fragile dopamine system requires variability. Your brain adapts to consistency. If you do the same workout at the same time in the same place every day, your brain habituates. The reward signal weakens. You build tolerance. This is why new gym members are excited for 3 weeks, then lose motivation. The novelty wore off. Variable ratio reinforcement is the most powerful behavioral driver ever discovered. It's why slot machines are so addictive. You don't know when the reward is coming, so every action might be the one that pays off. Your brain stays engaged. Apply this to discipline ethically. Some days work out at a different time. Some days different location. Some days different routine. Some days easy. Some days brutally hard. Some days with friends. Some days alone. The variability prevents habituation. Your brain stays interested because it doesn't know exactly what's coming. Unpredictable reward timing works similarly. Don't always celebrate the same way. Don't always rest on the same day. Keep your brain guessing. This maintains dopamine sensitivity. Challenge variability is critical for long-term discipline. If every day is hard, you'll burn out. If every day is easy, you'll stagnate. You need oscillation. 2 hard days, 1 easy day. 1 week of high intensity, 1 week of maintenance. This prevents adaptation and allows recovery. Environmental change-ups inject novelty. Work from a different location. Take a different route on your run. Rearrange your workspace. Your brain responds to novelty with dopamine. Use that. Frame your disciplined life as adventure, not routine. Routine feels boring. Adventure feels exciting. Same actions, different frame. You're not grinding through another workout. You're exploring what your body can do. You're not forcing yourself to write. You're discovering what ideas emerge. The frame changes everything. Social dopamine is massively powerful. Mirror neurons fire when we observe others doing something. When you watch someone work hard, your brain partially experiences that effort. This is why watching inspiring content can feel motivating, even though it's passive. But actually being around disciplined people is far more powerful. Their behavior becomes contagious. When everyone around you works hard, working hard becomes normal. When everyone around you is undisciplined, discipline becomes exhausting because you're fighting the social norm. Accountability partners work because you really don't want to disappoint someone else. Letting yourself down? You've got a million rationalizations ready. Letting down someone who's counting on you? That's much harder. Your brain prioritizes social reputation. Use that. Group challenges add competitive dopamine. Humans are competitive by nature. When there's a leaderboard, even a friendly one, your brain engages differently. Suddenly you're not just working out. You're competing. That's intrinsically motivating. Public commitment leverages consistency bias. Once you tell people you're doing something, your brain wants your actions to match your words. You care about being consistent with your public identity. This is psychological leverage. Finding your discipline tribe is non-negotiable. Environment is stronger than willpower. If you're surrounded by undisciplined people, you'll stay undisciplined. If you're surrounded by disciplined people, discipline becomes your new normal. Change your environment, change your life. Social media can work for or against you. If you use it for documentation and accountability, it reinforces discipline. Post your workouts. Share your progress. The public nature creates commitment. But if you use it for validation, chasing likes and comments, it becomes a dopamine trap that undermines discipline. Use it strategically or not at all. Let's talk about pain, because your relationship with discomfort is probably the biggest barrier between you and discipline. Most people operate under the assumption that avoiding pain is good and seeking comfort is the goal. That's backwards. Voluntary discomfort is your competitive advantage. There's a massive difference between chosen suffering and imposed suffering. Control changes everything. If someone forces you to run 10 miles, that's torture. If you choose to run 10 miles, that's empowering. Same physical experience. Completely different neurological and emotional response. When you voluntarily choose hardship, you're signaling to your brain that you're in control. That activates the prefrontal cortex. That creates resilience. But when hardship is imposed, your brain interprets it as a threat you can't control. That activates the amygdala. That creates trauma. This is the entire philosophy behind Navy SEAL training. They're not trying to find people who enjoy suffering. They're trying to find people who can voluntarily choose suffering and maintain control. That's the skill. That's what discipline is. Choosing discomfort while maintaining agency. The modern world has created a comfort crisis. Everything is designed to minimize discomfort. Temperature-controlled environments, soft furniture, easy food, instant entertainment, pharmacological solutions for every minor ailment. Your nervous system never experiences stress, so it never builds resilience. Hormetic stress is a biological principle. Small doses of stress make systems stronger. Lifting weights damages muscle fibers, which rebuild stronger. Fasting triggers cellular cleanup mechanisms. Cold exposure strengthens cardiovascular resilience. Heat exposure produces heat shock proteins that protect cells. But if you never experience these stressors, you weaken. Your discipline capacity is a hormetic stress adaptation. Every time you choose discomfort, you're building resilience. Every time you avoid discomfort, you're weakening. This isn't metaphorical. Your anterior midcingulate cortex physically atrophies without voluntary challenge. Use it or lose it. Here's the paradox. Avoiding pain creates more long-term pain. If you avoid difficult conversations, relationships deteriorate. If you avoid hard workouts, health deteriorates. If you avoid challenging work, career stagnates. The pain you're trying to avoid compounds with interest. But choosing short-term discomfort prevents long-term suffering. Difficult conversation now prevents relationship collapse later. Hard workout now prevents disease later. Challenging work now prevents regret later. You're choosing pain either way. You just get to pick when and how. The regret asymmetry is real. Research consistently shows that people regret inaction more than action. You'll regret not trying far more than trying and failing. You'll regret not saying something far more than saying it and being rejected. The pain of regret is worse than the pain of effort. Yet we're wired to avoid effort and accept regret. Learning pain signal literacy is critical. Your body sends two types of discomfort signals: growth signals and injury signals. Growth signals are muscle burn during a workout, lungs burning during a run, discomfort of a new stretch. These are safe. These mean adaptation is happening. Injury signals are sharp pain, joint pain, pain that increases with continued effort, pain that persists after rest. These are dangerous. These mean stop. Most people can't tell the difference, so they either push through injury signals and get hurt, or they stop at growth signals and never improve. You need to learn your body's language. Growth discomfort is okay. Push through it. Injury pain is not. Stop mental resistance versus genuine depletion works similarly. Mental resistance is I don't feel like it, but I physically can. Genuine depletion is I literally cannot perform this task safely. One is in your head. One is in your body. If you're tired because you stayed up late but you're physically capable of working out, that's resistance. Work out. If you slept 8 hours but worked out hard for 5 days straight and your body is giving injury signals, that's depletion. Rest. Emotional discomfort as growth indicator is a therapeutic concept. If something makes you uncomfortable emotionally, you're usually at an edge. That edge is where growth lives. If you only do things that feel comfortable, you never expand your capacity. Having difficult conversations is uncomfortable. Setting boundaries is uncomfortable. Being vulnerable is uncomfortable. But these are growth edges. Leaning into emotional discomfort expands your emotional capacity. Avoiding it keeps you small. Deliberate discomfort practice is about intentionally seeking hard things to build your tolerance. Cold exposure is one of the most powerful. When you get in cold water, every cell in your body is screaming to get out. Your breathing speeds up. Your heart rate spikes. You want to escape. But if you stay, if you control your breath, if you choose to remain, you're training your nervous system that you can be okay in discomfort. The neuroscience is remarkable. Cold triggers dopamine, norepinephrine, and endorphins. Your mood elevates. Your focus sharpens. Your stress resilience improves. All from choosing to be cold for a few minutes. Start with cold shower endings. 30 seconds at the end of your hot shower. Turn it to cold. Breathe slowly, stay calm. That's training. After a week, go to 60 seconds. After a month, start your shower cold. Eventually, you can work up to ice baths. The protocol for ice baths is 11 minutes total per week at 50 degrees Fahrenheit or colder. That could be 3 minutes, 3 or 4 times per week. The studies show significant neurological benefits at that dose. Heat exposure does similar things. Sauna sessions trigger heat shock proteins that protect your cells from stress. They improve cardiovascular function. They release endorphins. 15 to 20 minutes at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, 3 to 4 times per week, shows measurable benefits. But beyond the physiological benefits, the real value is psychological. You're sitting in heat that's genuinely uncomfortable. You want to leave, but you stay. You're proving to yourself that you control your behavior, not your discomfort. That proof transfers. If you can sit in a sauna when you're uncomfortable, you can work on a project when you're uncomfortable. Same skill. Fasting and hunger tolerance are powerful. Modern humans eat constantly. Breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack. Your body never enters a fasted state, but fasting triggers metabolic switching. After 12 to 16 hours without food, your body shifts from glucose metabolism to fat metabolism. This produces ketones which enhance mental clarity and focus. Hunger is just a sensation. It's not dangerous. It's not an emergency. But most people panic at the first sign of hunger. They immediately eat. If you can sit with hunger, if you can let yourself be hungry for a few hours, you're building discomfort tolerance. You're proving that sensations don't control you. Intermittent fasting is as much discipline training as metabolic intervention. When you fast until noon, you're voluntarily choosing discomfort. You're overriding the immediate gratification impulse. That's discipline practice. Physical challenges, hard workouts, endurance events, they all build discomfort tolerance. Progressive overload means gradually increasing difficulty. Last month's hard workout is this month's moderate workout. You're constantly pushing the edge. That builds capacity, and here's the link. Suffering during a challenge becomes achievement after. The harder the challenge, the greater the pride. You feel more satisfaction from completing something difficult than something easy. Your brain knows the difference. It rewards you more for genuine effort. Let me tell you about an ultramarathon runner named Courtney Dauwalter. She regularly wins 100-mile races. Sometimes she's running for over 24 hours straight. At mile 80, while other runners are struggling, crying, wanting to quit, she's smiling. Actually smiling. Not fake smiling. Genuine expression of joy. What's happening in her brain? Is she not in pain? No, she's in extraordinary pain. But her relationship with pain is different. She's reframed it. The pain is proof that she's doing something remarkable. The pain is part of the experience, not something to escape. She's not fighting the pain. She's accepting it, even welcoming it. This is neurologically trainable. Your brain's interpretation of pain signals is partially under your control. If you interpret pain as threat, your nervous system amplifies it. If you interpret pain as information or challenge, you're nervous. You can train this through reframes. When you feel discomfort during exercise, instead of thinking this hurts, I want to stop. Think this is where I get better. This is my growth edge. This is exactly where I need to be. The sensation doesn't change. Your relationship with it does. Another reframe. I'm safe. This is just uncomfortable. Your nervous system confuses discomfort with danger. When you're working out hard and everything hurts, your amygdala is screaming that you're in danger. But you're not. You're in your gym. You're safe. Remind yourself of that. I am safe. This is just uncomfortable. That calms the amygdala. Future me is grateful I'm doing this. Connect to your future self. Right now is hard, but tomorrow, next week, next month, you'll be grateful you pushed through. That future gratitude can motivate present action. This proves I'm disciplined. Every moment of chosen discomfort is evidence of your identity. This is proof. You're building your evidence bank. That identity reinforcement is powerfully motivating. I choose this. Agency is everything. You're not forced. You're choosing. This is voluntary. You can stop anytime, but you're choosing not to. That choice is power. This is my advantage. While others quit when things get hard, you keep going. That's competitive advantage. That's what separates you. Embrace it. Stoic philosophy has survived thousands of years because it works. The Stoics practiced voluntary adversity. Seneca would periodically live like he was poor, sleeping on hard surfaces, eating simple food, to remind himself that poverty wasn't scary. He was inoculating himself against fear. Negative visualization is imagining the worst-case scenario to prepare emotionally. What if you lost your job? What if your relationship ended? What if you got sick? Not to catastrophize, but to realize you'd survive. You'd adapt. This removes the fear of these outcomes, which removes their power over you. The dichotomy of control separates effort from outcome. You control your effort. You don't control outcomes. If you tie your discipline to outcomes, you'll quit when outcomes don't materialize. But if you tie your discipline to effort, you can maintain it regardless of outcomes. Did you do the work? That's the only question that matters. Amor fati means love of fate. Love what is, including the difficulty. The obstacle is the way. The hardship isn't blocking your path. It is your path. This is Ryan Holiday's framework from Stoicism. The very thing you want to avoid is the thing that makes you memento mori, remember you will die. Morbid, maybe, clarifying, absolutely. You have limited time. Spending it in comfort and mediocrity is wasting it. Urgency fuels discipline. When you remember you're mortal, suddenly effort matters. Suddenly discipline is obvious. Now let's talk about your attention, because you cannot be disciplined if you cannot focus. And right now, your attention is under constant siege. Your focus capacity has been systematically destroyed by an environment designed to fracture it. The attention economy is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Companies are spending massive resources engineering apps and websites to capture and hold your attention. They employ neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists to make their products as addictive as possible. They're not competing for your money primarily. They're competing for your attention, which they then sell to advertisers. Every notification is an intentional disruption. Every infinite scroll is designed to keep you engaged past your intention. Every autoplay is removing your agency. These are not accidents. These are sophisticated manipulation tactics, exploiting known vulnerabilities in human psychology. Persuasive technology is the field of designing tech to change user behavior. The people building apps know more about your brain than you do, and they're using that knowledge to addict you. This isn't conspiracy. This is business model. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. The cost of interrupted work is devastating. When you're focused on a task and you get interrupted, you don't just lose the time of the interruption. You lose attention residue. Your brain was loaded with context about the task. The interruption dumps that context. When you return to the task, you have to reload the context. That takes time. Research shows it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully return to a task after an interruption. 23 minutes? If you're interrupted every 10 minutes, you're never actually working. You're spending your entire day reloading context. The average knowledge worker switches tasks every 11 minutes. That means they never enter deep focus. They're living in a constant state of fragmented attention. Then they wonder why they're exhausted at the end of the day, despite feeling like they accomplished nothing. Context switching has a cognitive tax. Your brain has to save the current task context, load the new task context, perform the new task, save that context, reload the original task. Each switch costs mental energy. By the end of the day, you're cognitively depleted not from doing hard work, but from switching constantly. And multitasking? Neurologically impossible. Your brain cannot process two cognitively demanding tasks simultaneously. What you're calling multitasking is rapid task switching, and every switch has a cost. You feel busy. You feel productive. But your actual output is lower, and your error rate is higher than if you'd done one thing at a time. Digital minimalism is a philosophy of intentional technology use. Most people use technology reactively. Notification comes in, they respond. Bored moment, they scroll. Someone texts, they reply immediately. They've surrendered agency to their devices. Digital minimalism says you decide when and how you use technology. Technology serves you. You don't serve it. This requires boundaries. Start with an attention audit. Install rescue time or use your phone's screen time feature. Track everything for 1 week. No judgment. Just observe. How many hours per day are you on your phone? What apps are consuming most of your time? When are you using devices? Most people are genuinely shocked by the data. 4 to 6 hours daily on phones is common. That's 28 to 42 hours per week. That's a full-time job. You have a full-time job scrolling. The digital declutter is a 30-day experiment. Remove all optional technology. Delete social media apps from your phone. Block entertainment and news websites during work hours. Implement email bankruptcy. Set an autoresponder saying you're doing a digital declutter and will respond in 30 days. Batch process emails once daily or once weekly. Turn off all notifications. Not just some. All. For 30 days, your phone is for calls, texts from close friends and family, maps, and camera. That's it. Your computer is for work and intentional learning. No browsing. No scrolling. No entertainment. This feels extreme. That's because you're addicted. The first few days are withdrawal. You'll reach for your phone constantly out of habit. There's nothing there. You'll be bored. Your brain will scream for stimulation. Sit with it. By week 2, something shifts. You'll read more. You'll think more. You'll be more present in conversations. You'll notice things. Your anxiety will decrease. Your sleep will improve. You'll realize how much of your mental energy was being consumed by digital noise. After 30 days, you reintroduce technology strategically. Ask yourself for each app or service, does this serve a critical value in my life? If not, don't add it back. If yes, what are the rules for using it? Time limits, location limits, purpose limits. Maybe Instagram can be used for 15 minutes on Saturday mornings only, and only for direct messages with close friends. Not for scrolling, not for stories, not during the week. Clear rules. This isn't deprivation. This is intentionality. Deep work is Cal Newport's term for cognitively demanding work that requires sustained focus. This is where value is created. This is where you make progress on important projects. This is where learning happens. But deep work requires uninterrupted blocks of time, minimum 90 minutes, ideally 2 to 3 hours. There are 4 approaches to scheduling deep work. Monastic is total immersion. You disappear for weeks or months and do nothing but deep work. Most people can't do this. Bimodal is deep work seasons. You might do intense deep work for 1 month, then regular work for the next month. This works for academics or writers with flexible schedules. Rhythmic is daily deep work blocks. Same time every day. This is most sustainable for people with traditional jobs. Block your calendar from 6 to 9 a.m. every morning. That's your deep work time. Non-negotiable. Or maybe it's 5 to 8 p.m. if you're an evening person. The specific time matters less than the consistency. Journalistic is opportunistic deep work. Whenever you have a free hour, you shift into deep work mode. This is an advanced skill. It requires the ability to quickly enter focus. Most people need more structure. Schedule deep work like medical appointments. You wouldn't skip a doctor's appointment because you didn't feel like going. Deep work blocks are equally non-negotiable. Put them on your calendar and protect them ruthlessly. Morning deep work has advantages. Your decision-making capacity is highest. Your willpower tank is full. You're less likely to be interrupted because others aren't awake yet. If you can do your most important work before 9 a.m., the rest of your day is bonus. The 90-minute cycle aligns with ultradian rhythms. Your brain naturally oscillates between high and low focus approximately every 90 minutes. Work with this. 90 minutes deep work, 20-minute break. 90 minutes deep work, 20-minute break. During breaks, rest your brain. Don't scroll. Don't read news. Walk, stare out a window, stretch, close your eyes. Let your brain enter default mode network, which consolidates learning and generates insights. Weekly deep work minimum for significant progress is around 20 hours. That's 4 hours daily for 5 days. If you're getting less than 20 hours of deep work per week, you're probably not making the progress you want. You're staying busy with shallow work, but you're not creating value. Building a distraction-proof environment is critical. Your physical space matters. If you're trying to focus in a space where you're visible and accessible, you'll be interrupted. Find or create a single-purpose work zone. This is where you do deep work and nothing else. Over time, just being in that space will trigger focus. Visual field control means removing digital temptations from sight. Phone in another room, not face down on your desk, in another room. Studies show that just having your phone visible, even if it's off, reduces cognitive capacity. Your brain is partially monitoring it. That's cognitive load. Remove it. Some people have a work uniform. Same clothes for deep work. This creates a trigger. Brain learns that when you wear these clothes, you focus. Sounds silly. Works. Lighting matters. Blue spectrum light increases alertness. Use it during work hours. Warm light in evening helps wind down. Temperature around 68 degrees is optimal for cognitive performance. Too warm and you're drowsy. Too cold and you're distracted by discomfort. Digital infrastructure requires tools. Website blockers like Freedom or Cold Turkey. Set them to block all distracting sites during work hours. You can override them, but having to override creates a decision point. Most of the time, that's enough to stop you. Phone in different room or in your car during deep work. Not just on silent, gone. If it's accessible, you'll check it. Make it inaccessible. Internet kill switch for writing sessions. Unplug the router or get a separate device without internet for writing. You can't browse if there's no connection. Dummy accounts without saved credentials. If you have to type your password every time you want to check social media, that friction prevents most impulse checks. Social boundary setting is about training people that you're not always available. Do not disturb mode during deep work. Set office hours for when people can reach you. Batch communication. Email autoresponder can set expectations. I check email twice daily at noon and 5 p.m. If urgent, call me. Most things aren't urgent. Meeting free days or blocks. Block your calendar. Make deep work visible to others so they don't schedule over it. Attention restoration requires giving your attention system rest. Nature exposure is remarkably effective. Just 20 minutes in nature reduces cortisol and restores attention capacity. This is attention restoration theory. Natural environments don't demand focus, so they allow your attention system to recover. Walking without devices is crucial. Don't listen to podcasts or music every time you walk. Sometimes just walk. Let your mind wander. Default mode network activates during this time, which is where creativity and insight generation happen. Reading physical books trains sustained attention. Books require holding focus for extended periods. That's training. The more you read, the stronger your focus muscle becomes. Boredom tolerance is a meta skill for the modern world. If you can't be bored without immediately reaching for stimulation, you can't focus. Boredom is the precursor to creativity. It's the space where your brain generates ideas because there's nothing else to process. Meditation is meta-attention training. You're not just focusing. You're noticing when you lose focus and redirecting. That's the skill. That strengthens the prefrontal cortex. 8 weeks of regular meditation shows structural brain changes in imaging studies. Sleep is attention recovery. Every hour of sleep debt compounds attention deficits. 8 hours non-negotiable. Without sleep, all of this is exponentially harder. Identity-level discipline is the deepest level of transformation. This is where discipline stops being something you do and becomes who you are. This is where negotiation ends. This is the switch fully activated. Let me tell you about Jocko Willink. Retired Navy SEAL. Gets up at 4:30 every morning. Has for decades. Does he always feel like it? No. Does he do it anyway? Yes. Why? Because it's non-negotiable. It's not a decision. It's who he is. When the alarm goes off, he doesn't think about it. He doesn't negotiate. He doesn't check how he feels. His body moves. That's automaticity. That's identity-level discipline. The behavior is so deeply embedded in his self-concept that it's essentially involuntary. What happens neurologically when discipline becomes identity? Your brain stops categorizing it as effortful. It's just what you do, like breathing. You don't use willpower to breathe. You just breathe. When discipline reaches that level, willpower is no longer required. The identity hierarchy goes outcome-based goals, then identity-based goals. Outcome-based is, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to run a marathon. Identity-based is, I am a healthy person, or I am a runner. The difference is profound. If your goal is to lose 20 pounds, what happens after you lose it? Often people regain the weight, because the goal was outcome-based. Once the outcome is achieved, the behavior stops. But if your identity is, I am a healthy person, there is no finish line. Healthy people eat well and exercise. That's ongoing. That's who you are. Identity creates behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. It's a positive feedback loop. When you believe you're a disciplined person, you act disciplined. When you act disciplined, that confirms your belief. The loop strengthens with each cycle. Most goals fail because they're not connected to self-concept. You say you want to write a book, but you don't see yourself as a writer. That disconnect creates friction. Your behavior gravitates toward your identity, not your stated goals. If you want lasting change, change your identity first. I am statements are psychologically powerful. They're declarations of self-concept. When you say I am disciplined, your brain is invested in proving that true. Confirmation bias works in your favor. You'll subconsciously generate disciplined behaviors to confirm your identity. Designing your disciplined identity starts with reverse engineering. Who is the person who has what you want? What are their traits? Their habits? Their standards? How do they think? How do they spend their time? You're not copying them. You're extracting principles. Your 3-word identity distills you into core traits. For example, I am relentless, or I am consistent, or I am disciplined. Whatever 3 words capture who you're becoming. Write them down. Read them daily. The alter ego effect is another approach. Athletes use this constantly. You create a character who embodies the traits you want. When you step into that character, you access those traits. It's not fake. It's psychological leverage. Your brain responds to this. Your identity statement should be present tense first person, not I want to be or I will be. I am. Present tense creates psychological reality. It's true now, not someday. Character traits, not achievements. I am disciplined, not I ran a marathon. Values and principles. What you stand for. What matters to you. Who you refuse to be. Your anti-identity. Sometimes defining who you're not is as important as defining who you are. Read your identity statement aloud every morning. This is identity activation. You're reminding yourself who you are before the day's decisions arise. When temptation comes, you already know who you are. The decision is easier. The evidence bank is critical for identity formation. Belief requires evidence. Your brain won't sustain a belief without supporting data. Every disciplined action is evidence. Log it. Discipline journal where you record every promise kept, every workout completed, every commitment followed through. This builds your evidence bank. Over time, the evidence becomes undeniable. You can't tell yourself you're not disciplined when you have 3 months of daily evidence proving you are. The identity becomes factual, not aspirational. Confirmation bias now works for you. Once you believe you're disciplined, you notice evidence supporting that belief. You filter reality through that lens. You are disciplined. Your brain finds proof everywhere. This reinforces the belief. The loop accelerates. The minimum viable discipline is what you do even on bad days. What's the floor? Even when you're sick, tired, busy, stressed, what's the minimum you do to maintain your identity? Maybe it's 10 push-ups. Maybe it's 5 minutes of writing. Maybe it's one healthy meal. Define your minimum, then never go below it. The never miss twice rule is crucial. Missing once is life. Missing twice is a new pattern. If you break your streak, get back on it within 24 hours. That maintains identity. That says I slipped, but I'm still me. 2 in a row says maybe I'm not that person. Don't let it get to 2. Public declarations create social pressure as identity reinforcement. When you tell people who you are, you've now got social accountability. You don't want to contradict your public identity. Your brain will generate behavior to match. Document your progress. Before and after photos, metrics, streak tracking. Visual progress is powerful. It's evidence. It's proof. It reinforces identity. Non-negotiable standards are: the 100% rule is easier than the 98% rule. This sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. If something is 100% non-negotiable, there's no decision, no negotiation, no mental energy spent. It just happens. But if it's 98%, you have to decide. Is today one of the 98% days or one of the 2% exception days? That decision costs willpower. That opens negotiation. That weakens the behavior. Make your non-negotiables 100%. Eliminate the decision. It's just what you do. Exception protocols are for genuine emergencies. Not I don't feel like it. Emergencies, you're sick. Family crisis. Actual emergency. In those cases, go to your minimum viable discipline. But get back to normal within 24 hours. Don't let the exception become the new pattern. Recovery protocol when you've fallen off track. Don't wait until Monday. Don't wait until next month. Get back on track immediately. The sooner you return, the less identity damage. The longer you wait, the more your brain questions whether you're actually that person. Moderation undermines discipline identity. This is controversial, but hear me out. For behaviors where you're building discipline identity, moderation creates negotiation. If you're allowing yourself social media in moderation, you have to decide what moderation means every time. That's willpower depletion. That's negotiation. That's friction. It's often easier to eliminate entirely, at least during the identity building phase. No social media is a clearer rule than social media in moderation. No dessert is clearer than dessert in moderation. Once identity is established, you can reintroduce strategic moderation. But during the building phase, absolutism is often more effective. The discipline reputation is about becoming known as the disciplined one. When your friends describe you, do they use words like consistent, disciplined, reliable, follows through? If so, that's powerful social reinforcement. If not, that's an opportunity. Your social identity affects your self-identity. Teach discipline to others. When you mentor someone, when you share what you've learned, you strengthen your own understanding and identity. Teaching makes it real. You become the expert. That shifts self-concept. Discipline is attractive. People are drawn to disciplined individuals. Romantically, professionally, socially. Discipline signals ability to delay gratification, maintain commitments, overcome obstacles. Those are universally valued traits. Your discipline opens doors. Leadership spillover is real. Discipline in one area elevates all areas. When you're disciplined about fitness, that discipline spills into work, into relationships, into finances. One strong discipline pillar lifts everything else. It's not compartmentalized. It's systemic. Legacy thinking asks, what do you want people to say about you? At your funeral, what do you want said? He was disciplined. He followed through. He did what he said he'd do. If that's the legacy you want, your daily actions need to align. Start now. Legacy is built daily. Now let's talk about sustainable discipline, because you can force discipline short-term with pure willpower. You can grind for weeks or even months, but without biological optimization, you'll burn out. Your body and brain need specific inputs to maintain discipline long-term. Sleep is the non-negotiable foundation. Everything is harder when you're sleep-deprived. Everything. Your prefrontal cortex, the discipline and decision-making center, goes offline. Brain imaging shows reduced activity after poor sleep. You're literally losing access to your discipline capacity. 7 days of sleep debt takes 4 weeks to recover. The deficit compounds. Every night you short yourself creates a deeper hole. And you can't make it up with one long sleep on the weekend. It doesn't work that way. The minimum is 8 hours. Not 7, 8. Elite performers often get 9. Sleep is not negotiable if you want sustainable discipline. It's not a luxury. It's foundational. Sleep quality optimization starts with temperature. Your bedroom should be 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Your body needs to drop core temperature to enter deep sleep. Too warm and you stay in light sleep or wake frequently. Darkness matters. Blackout curtains. Cover every LED light. Your skin has photoreceptors. Even small amounts of light can disrupt sleep. Complete darkness. Consistency is crucial. Same bedtime every night, even weekends. Your circadian rhythm entrains to consistency. Irregular sleep schedules confuse your internal clock and degrade sleep quality. Pre-sleep routine creates wind down. Your body needs transition time. You can't go from high stimulation to sleep instantly. An hour before bed, dim lights, no screens, calm activities. Reading, stretching, journaling. Signal to your body that sleep is coming. Blue light curfew 2 hours before bed. Blue spectrum light signals daytime to your brain. It suppresses melatonin. Screens emit blue light. No screens 2 hours before sleep. If you must use screens, blue light blocking glasses or apps that shift to warm spectrum. Caffeine cutoff is critical. Caffeine has an 8 to 10 hour half-life. If you have coffee at 3 p.m., half of it is still in your system at 11 p.m. That's disrupting sleep. Caffeine cutoff should be before noon for evening sleep. Alcohol truth is important to hear. Alcohol is a sedative, not a sleep aid. It knocks you out, but it destroys REM sleep, which is when your brain processes emotions and consolidates learning. You wake up feeling unrested despite being unconscious for 8 hours. If you want quality sleep and discipline capacity, minimize or eliminate alcohol. Naps are performance enhancement when done right. 20-minute power naps restore alertness without entering deep sleep. If you nap longer than 30 minutes, you risk sleep inertia and grogginess. Keep naps short or long, at least 90 minutes. Avoid the 30 to 60-minute range. Nutrition for cognitive performance starts with blood sugar regulation. When blood sugar crashes, willpower crashes. They're linked. Glucose is fuel for your prefrontal cortex. When it's depleted, decision-making degrades. Protein priority. Because neurotransmitters are made from amino acids, which come from protein. Your brain needs building blocks to produce dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine. Without adequate protein, neurotransmitter production suffers. Target at least 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. Every meal includes protein. Breakfast is especially important. High-protein breakfast stabilizes blood sugar and improves decision quality all day. Healthy fats for brain function because 60% of your brain is fat. You need omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA specifically for neuroplasticity. Your brain's ability to form new connections requires these fats. Sources are wild fish, walnuts, flax, algae-based supplements, complex carbs for sustained energy. Not simple sugars that spike and crash. Whole grains, vegetables, legumes. These provide steady glucose without the roller coaster. Micronutrients matter. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions, including stress regulation. Most people are deficient, 400 milligrams daily. B vitamins are essential for energy metabolism. Vitamin D affects mood and motivation. Iron transports oxygen. Without adequate micronutrients, even with enough calories, your brain underperforms. Hydration is often overlooked. 2% dehydration causes 20% cognitive decline. Most people are chronically underhydrated. You should be urinating clear or light yellow several times per day. If your urine is dark, drink more water. Caffeine strategic use means morning only, ideally paired with L-theanine, which smooths out the jittery effects. Caffeine blocks adenosine, which builds up during the day to create sleep pressure. If you consume caffeine late, you're blocking that signal and disrupting nighttime sleep. Movement as cognitive fuel is backed by solid research. Exercise creates BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is literally fertilizer for your brain. It promotes neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections and adapt. Morning workout leads to better prefrontal cortex function all day. You get cognitive benefits for hours after exercise. If you work out in the morning, you're optimizing your brain for the entire day. Cardio reduces stress through cortisol regulation. When you exercise, you metabolize stress hormones. This is why people say they work out to clear their head. Neurologically, that's accurate. Resistance training builds confidence and discipline transfer. When you progressively lift heavier weights, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of more than you thought. That mindset transfers to other areas. The minimum effective dose is 30 minutes of moderate intensity daily. That's enough to get significant benefits. More is often better, but 30 minutes is the floor. Walking, jogging, cycling, swimming, lifting. Just move. Eat. For time efficiency provides both metabolic and cognitive benefits in shorter duration. 20 minutes of high-intensity interval training can provide similar benefits to an hour of steady-state cardio. Walking for problem-solving works through bilateral stimulation. When you walk, your left and right hemispheres sync. This promotes insight generation and creative thinking. Many breakthroughs happen during walks. Desk breaks every 60 minutes are necessary. Sitting for extended periods reduces blood flow to the brain. Stand up, walk around, stretch. 5 minutes every hour. This maintains cognitive performance. Stress management is critical because chronic stress destroys discipline capacity. Cortisol damages the prefrontal cortex over time. If you're living in chronic stress, you're damaging. The stress bucket metaphor helps. Imagine a bucket. Every stressor adds water. Exercise, work, relationships, sleep debt, inflammation, financial pressure, everything goes in. When the bucket overflows, that's when discipline collapses. You can't will your way through an overflowing bucket. You need to drain it. Reduce stressors or increase coping capacity. Preferably both. Say no to non-essential obligations. Set boundaries. Remove toxic relationships or situations. These are stress reduction strategies. HRV training, heart rate variability, is stress measurement and optimization. HRV measures the variation in time between heartbeats. High variability indicates a well-regulated nervous system. Low variability indicates stress. You can track HRV with wearables and use breathwork to improve it. Breathwork protocols are powerful. Box breathing, 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 4-second exhale, 4-second hold, calms the nervous system. Physiological sigh, double inhale through nose, long exhale through mouth, rapidly reduces stress. Wim Hof method, controlled hyperventilation followed by breath holds, trains stress resilience. Meditation shows brain structure changes after just 8 weeks of regular practice. It strengthens the prefrontal cortex and reduces amygdala reactivity. You become less emotionally reactive and more in control. Nature exposure for 20 minutes reduces cortisol measurably. Get outside. Touch grass. Look at trees. It sounds simple, but the data supports it. Relationships and social support buffer against stress. Strong relationships are protective. Toxic relationships amplify stress. Audit your relationships. Invest in supportive ones. Distance from draining ones. Saying no to non-essential stressors is boundary discipline. Not everything requires your yes. Protect your time. Protect your energy. No is a complete sentence. The recovery protocol acknowledges that high discipline requires high recovery. You can't sprint forever. You need rest. Work-rest cycles maintain sustainable discipline. Active recovery like light movement is better than complete inactivity. Walk, stretch, gentle yoga. Keep blood flowing without demanding performance. Weekly rest day from intense physical training allows your body to adapt and repair. You get stronger during rest, not during workouts. Monthly mini retirements. 3-day unplugged recharges. Reset your nervous system. Get away, no work, no devices, just rest and presence. Quarterly assessment and recalibration helps you adjust your systems. What's working? What's not? What needs to change? Don't run the same system forever. Evolve it. The sustainability test is simple. Can you do this for 10 years? If not, it's not sustainable. Modify it until the answer is yes. Now let's talk about building systems that survive life's chaos. Because motivation disappears. Life gets hard. Unexpected things happen. If your discipline relies on feeling motivated, it will fail. You need systems that function regardless of how you feel. Systems versus goals is a fundamental mindset shift. Goals are destinations. Systems are processes. Goals create an on-off switch. You either achieved the goal or you didn't. If you did, you stop. If you didn't, you failed. Either way, the behavior often ends. Systems are ongoing. You're not trying to lose 20 pounds. You're building a system of healthy eating and regular exercise. The system runs forever. 20 pounds might be a milestone, but it's not the end point. Goals are for direction. Systems are for progress. Set a goal to know where you're headed. Build a system to actually get there. Then stay focused on the system, not the goal. The plateau of latent potential is a concept from Atomic Habits. When you start a new behavior, you're in the valley of disappointment. You're doing the work but not seeing results. This is where most people quit. They expect linear progress. They get frustrated when they don't see immediate change. But change is exponential, not linear. You work for weeks with minimal visible progress. Then suddenly, breakthrough. The work was compounding under the surface. You just couldn't see it yet. Trust the system long enough to reach the breakthrough. Process satisfaction is about enjoying the discipline itself, not just the outcomes. If you only enjoy winning, you'll only be happy on outcome days. But if you enjoy training, you're happy every day. Fall in love with the process. The outcomes become bonuses, not requirements. Environment is everything. This is not hyperbole. Behavior is a function of person and environment. You can be incredibly disciplined in one environment and completely undisciplined in another. Same person, different context. Make good choices inevitable. Bad choices hard. This is environment design. If healthy food is visible and accessible and junk food is hidden or absent, you'll eat healthy. Not because you have more willpower, because the easiest option is the healthy option. Physical environment design. Gym bag by the door or gym clothes by the bed. You're removing steps between intention and action. Every step removed increases behavior likelihood. Healthy snacks visible, junk food hidden or absent. If you want a snack, the first thing you see is fruit. Book on your pillow. Phone in a different room. You're engineering the behavior. Workspace equals work only. No Netflix at your desk. No lying in bed with your laptop. Spaces should have single functions. Your brain associates environments with behaviors. If you do everything in one place, that place triggers no specific behavior. But if you only work at your desk, sitting at your desk triggers work mode, digital environment design. App blockers as default during work hours. You have to manually override, which creates a decision point that prevents impulse use. Unsubscribe from emails and notifications that tempt you. Curate social feeds to inspire, not trigger comparison. Auto-delete food delivery apps, so ordering junk food requires reinstalling the app. That friction prevents impulse orders. Social environment curation is controversial but critical. Audit your 5 closest friends. Are they disciplined? Do they support your growth? Or do they mock your efforts and tempt you back into old patterns? You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by undisciplined people, you'll be undisciplined. If you're surrounded by disciplined people, discipline becomes normal. This doesn't mean abandon everyone who isn't perfect. But it does mean being strategic about who you spend time with. Distance from people who actively undermine you. Invest in people who elevate you. Join communities aligned with your identity. Hire a coach or trainer for external structure. Sometimes paying someone creates commitment. You don't want to waste money. You don't want to let them down. That external structure can carry you until internal structure is established. The 2-minute rule makes every discipline habit accessible. Every habit has a 2-minute version. Work out for an hour becomes put on gym shoes. Write a book becomes write 1 sentence. Eat healthy becomes eat 1 vegetable. The power is in showing up. If you show up, you're reinforcing identity. And often 2 minutes becomes 20. Once you're in gym clothes, you might as well leave the house. Once you leave, you might as well go to the gym. Once you're there, you might as well work out. The hardest part was the first 2 minutes. But even if you stop at 2 minutes, you showed up. That's identity evidence. You're someone who keeps commitments, even tiny ones. That builds self-trust. When to stay micro is during high-stress periods. Life gets chaotic. Your capacity drops. Don't abandon discipline. Reduce to the 2-minute version. Maintain the identity. You're still working out, even if it's just push-ups in your living room. When stress passes, scale back up. Habit stacking chains behaviors. After current habit, I will new habit. You're attaching new discipline to existing routines. After I pour coffee, I meditate 2 minutes. After I brush teeth, I do 10 push-ups. After I close my laptop, I journal. Creating discipline chains is powerful. One trigger, multiple behaviors. Your morning routine might be, alarm goes off, immediately stand up, drink water, put on workout clothes, do breathing exercises, go for a run. All chained. The alarm triggers the entire sequence. Evening routine for next day setup is equally important. Prepare gym bag. Lay out clothes. Prep breakfast. Plan top 3 tasks. Close open loops. You're preloading the environment, so tomorrow's discipline requires minimal activation energy. Tracking and measurement makes discipline visible. What gets measured gets managed. If you're not tracking, you don't have data. You don't know if you're progressing or stagnating. Visual progress is highly motivating. Streaks create psychological commitment. You don't want to break a 30-day streak. That streak motivates behavior. Tracking methods include physical calendars with X's for completed days. Jerry Seinfeld's don't break the chain method. Every day you write jokes, put an X on the calendar, After a few weeks, you have a chain. Your only job is don't break the chain. Habit tracking apps like Streaks, Habitica, or Way of Life automate tracking. Spreadsheet dashboards for metrics you care about. Workout weights, running distance, hours of deep work, whatever matters to you. The minimum is one binary track. Did you do it or not? That's all, yes or no. Build from there. Never break the chain creates powerful psychological commitment. But when you do break it, recovery protocol is critical. Get back within 24 hours. 1 miss is a mistake. 2 misses is a new pattern. Don't let it get to 2. Implementation intentions are pre-decisions. You're deciding in advance what you'll do when. I will behavior at time and location. If it's 5:30 Monday morning, I will be in. The accountability partner formula requires similar discipline levels, compatible schedules, shared values, non-judgmental support, and regular check-ins. Daily or weekly depending on the discipline. What you share. Commitments, results, struggles. No judgment, just facts and support. The accountability text, did you do it today, is incredibly effective. Knowing someone will ask creates forward pressure. When to switch partners is every 90 days for freshness. Long-term partnerships can become stale or too comfortable. New partner brings new energy. The discipline tribe is your community. You become the average of who you're around. If everyone around you is disciplined, discipline becomes your normal. Join group fitness classes for workout plus social. Mastermind groups, 6 to 10 people. Weekly calls for mutual accountability and growth. Online communities on Reddit, Discord, Facebook for connection without geography limits. Local meetups like running clubs or entrepreneur groups. Coaching groups where paid commitment increases follow-through. Providing value to your community strengthens your own learning. Teach what you're learning. Answer questions. Share your experience. This deepens your understanding and reinforces your identity. Public commitment is psychological leverage. Social commitment makes goals 65% more likely to be achieved. Where to commit? Social media with 1 post and tag friends. Group email to close friends and family. Workplace announcement if appropriate. Betting websites like StickK or BeMinder where money is on the line. What to commit? Specific behavior, timeline, tracking method. I will work out 5 days per week for 12 weeks, tracked on my Instagram. Clear, specific, measurable. The embarrassment factor is motivator. You don't want to publicly fail. That's healthy shame driving discipline. Update publicly with progress posts. Each post reinforces your commitment and identity. Competition as fuel activates achievement circuits. Healthy competition elevates both parties. Finding rivals, friendly competition, mutual elevation. Challenge formats include 30-day challenges with a friend where first to miss loses. Fitness leaderboards like Peloton, Strava, CrossFit. Work accountability, who ships more, who shows up earlier. Financial competition, who saves or earns more. The gamification principle uses points, levels, badges to make discipline game-like. Your brain responds to game mechanics. Leverage that. Keep competition healthy. Comparison should inspire, not create desperation. You're competing to elevate each other, not tear each other down. The teaching effect says teaching is the best learning. When you explain something, you clarify your own understanding. Mentor someone else in discipline. You'll strengthen your own systems. Content creation as accountability. YouTube documenting your journey. Blog sharing your process. Podcast interviewing disciplined people. Social media posting daily discipline actions. Once it's public, it's harder to quit. You've created an audience expecting updates. Building authority by becoming known for discipline. Over time, you're the disciplined person. That social identity reinforces self-identity. Family discipline culture when you have a partner or kids. Partner alignment on shared values and goals makes everything easier. Modeling discipline for children is the best parenting strategy. They learn from what you do, not what you say. Family challenges create collective growth. Removing temptation for everyone raises household standards. Celebrating each other's wins creates positive culture. The multi-generational impact is legacy. Your discipline influences your children, who influence their children. You're setting patterns that last generations. Now let's talk about the long game. Sustaining discipline for years, not months. Building anti-fragile discipline that gets stronger with time and survives setbacks without collapse. Jerry Seinfeld wrote jokes every single day for decades. Every day, no matter what. That consistency is what made him one of the greatest comedians ever. Not talent, consistency. The compound effect is small daily actions becoming exceptional results. 1% better daily equals 37 times better in 1 year. The math is exponential, but you don't see it for months. That's the test. Can you trust the process when you can't see the progress? The plateau period is brutal. You're doing everything right. Nothing's changing. This is where most quit. They think it's not working, but underground change is happening. You're in the valley of disappointment before the breakthrough, the hockey stick curve. Flat for months, then suddenly explosion. But you only get the explosion if you stay through the flat part. Examples of compounding. Reading 20 pages daily equals 30 books yearly. $10 daily investment at 7% return equals $170,000 in 20 years. 30 minutes workout daily transforms physique in year 1. These don't seem significant daily, but compounded, life-changing setbacks are guaranteed. Life will disrupt you. Job changes, moves, relationship shifts, illness, injury, unexpected crises. Your discipline system will be tested. The question isn't if, but when and how you respond. Types of setbacks. Life disruption like moving or job change disrupts routines. Motivation drought where nothing feels appealing. Burnout from overtraining or overwork. Injury or illness creating physical limitations. Failure when you didn't achieve a goal. The 24-hour rule. Get back on track within 1 day, immediately. Don't wait until Monday. Don't wait until next month. The longer you wait, the harder the return. 1 day off is recovery. Multiple days is a new pattern you'll have to break. Minimum viable discipline during setbacks. You can't maintain peak discipline during crisis, but you can maintain something. Reduce, don't eliminate. If you can't do full workouts, do 10 minutes. If you can't do your full routine, do one element. Maintain the identity even if you can't maintain the volume. The comeback mindset reframes setbacks. This is where discipline deepens. Easy to be disciplined when everything's perfect. Coming back from setback proves real discipline. That's character building. Seasons of discipline acknowledge life has rhythms. Sometimes you're in growth phase, pushing hard. Sometimes maintenance phase, sustaining. Sometimes survival phase, just getting through. Expectations need to match season. If you're in survival mode and expecting growth performance, you'll create shame that makes everything worse. Match expectations to reality. Every plateau is preparation for the next level. Progress stalls because your body and brain are adapting. The plateau isn't failure, it's consolidation. You're integrating current level before advancing. Breakthrough levers to overcome plateaus. Increase difficulty through progressive overload. Change variables like exercise, location, time. Measure differently with new metrics to reveal hidden progress. Add complexity through skill development layers. Remove something because subtraction can create addition. The patience paradox says rushing delays progress. You can't force breakthrough. You create conditions and wait. Evolution, not perfection, means your system will change. Annual system audit asks what's working, what's not. Life stage adjustments happen. Single versus partnered changes available time and priorities. Pre-kids versus parent changes everything. Career building versus established changes focus. Young versus aging body changes capacity. The 80-20 discipline principle identifies which 20% of actions create 80% of results. Focus there. Cut what no longer serves. You're not abandoning discipline. You're refining it. Defining your enough prevents optimization from becoming obsession. The treadmill trap is thinking more discipline equals more happiness. At some point, more becomes less. You're sacrificing other important things. When discipline becomes disordered, ignoring injury signals, relationships suffering, joy disappearing, identity crisis without routine, judgment of others who aren't disciplined. These are warning signs. Discipline should enhance life, not replace it. Balance audits across life domains. Work, health, relationships, fun, rest. If one area is excellent and others are neglected, that's imbalance. You might be fit but lonely, or successful but unhealthy. Zoom out. Look at whole life. The purpose question. Discipline for what? If you can't answer that, you're at risk of empty optimization. Why does this matter? How does it serve your values? Discipline is a tool, not a destination. Integration means discipline serves life. It's not separate from living. It enables better living. When discipline and life are integrated, discipline feels natural, not forced. The discipline legacy is what you're building beyond yourself. Impact on family. Your children watch and learn from your example. Impact on friends. Your discipline inspires others whether you intend it to or not. Impact on career. Discipline opens doors and creates opportunities. Impact on health span. Quality of life in aging is dramatically improved by discipline. The deathbed perspective asks, will I regret discipline? Never. You might regret too much work, too little presence, but you'll never regret taking care of yourself and following through on commitments. Who you become through discipline is character. The outcomes are nice. The process is who builds you into who you're meant to be. That's the ultimate reward. Self-respect and peace. When you trust yourself, when you keep your word to yourself, you have internal peace that nothing external can touch. The transformation is proof that your brain can love hard things. You're not broken. Discipline is trainable. Transformation is inevitable with the right approach. The neuroscience of change confirms neuroplasticity is lifelong. You're never too old, never too far gone. Your brain can change at any age. The timeline of transformation. Days 1 through 7, initiating new patterns feels hard. Excitement fades. Days 8 through 21, neural pathways forming, building tracks. Days 22 through 66, habit solidification, automaticity developing. Day 67 and beyond, identity shift. This is who I am now. The 10,000-hour myth versus 66-day habit reality. Mastery takes time. But habit formation? 66 days on average. You don't need years to build discipline. You need months. Structural brain changes from sustained discipline are proven by MRI studies. Your brain physically changes. The anterior mid-cingulate cortex grows. That's the discipline switch activating permanently. The snowball effect means first discipline enables second enables third. When you master workout discipline, suddenly eating discipline is easier. Then sleep discipline. Then work discipline. They compound. Each one makes the next easier. Real transformations prove this works. Corporate executive, overweight and stressed, becomes marathon runner and gets promoted. College dropout, video game addict becomes entrepreneur with 7-figure business. Stay-at-home parent who lost identity earns online degree and starts new career. Retiree with declining health starts CrossFit and gets new lease on life. Common patterns in transformations. Crisis or wake-up call where pain exceeds fear of change. One discipline leads to many. Fitness leads to nutrition, sleep, career advancement. Identity shift where you become unrecognizable to former self. Compound timeline, slow for months. Then suddenly, completely different. Your unique transformation path acknowledges no one-size-fits-all. Customize everything you've learned. Your starting point doesn't determine destination. Whether you're starting from zero or building on existing discipline, the principles work. Designing your 90-day discipline sprint. Choose one primary discipline, health, work, or skill development. Design complete system including ignition protocol, environment, tracking, and accountability. Commit fully 100% for 90 days. Document journey through journal, photos, and metrics. Review and expand. After success, add next discipline. The domino effect is real. Master one discipline. Others become exponentially easier. You've built the neural pathways. You've proved to yourself you can. The confidence transfers. Maintenance versus growth phases prevent burnout. Not every season is growth season. The discipline cycle includes expansion, where you're adding new disciplines and increasing intensity. Consolidation, where you're maintaining gains and integrating habits. Recovery, where you're reducing intensity and resting deeply. Return, where you're re-engaging with renewed energy. Listen to your body and life season. Plan your year with 2 to 3 growth sprints and rest between. This creates sustainable long-term discipline. The identity milestone check. Signs discipline has become your identity. You don't negotiate with yourself anymore. Missing discipline feels wrong, like skipping brushing teeth. Others describe you as disciplined without prompting. You teach discipline naturally. Challenges excite you instead of scare you. Your baseline of normal has elevated dramatically. Self-respect is unshakable. The peace that comes with discipline is internal alignment. No more internal conflict. Your actions match your values. That's integrity. That's peace, the freedom through structure paradox. Discipline doesn't limit you. It creates options. Fit people have more life options. Financially disciplined people have more choices. Career discipline creates opportunities. Discipline is freedom. Continuous improvement philosophy. You're never done with discipline. It's lifelong practice. The 1% better mindset is Kaizen. Tiny continuous improvement forever. Collecting discipline wins in your journal. Evidence that you're the person you claim to be. Seeking bigger challenges because growth requires new stress. Teaching and mentoring which gives back and completes the cycle. The joy of becoming. Process over destination. Your 90-day discipline sprint starts now. You have all the tools. The ignition protocol to start. The dopamine architecture to sustain. The pain reframes to embrace discomfort. The attention fortress to focus. The identity activation to become. The biological optimization to sustain. The failure-proof systems to survive chaos. The social leverage to amplify. The long-game mindset to maintain. You understand the neuroscience. Discipline is trainable. The switch is real. You've designed your system. Environment, habits, tracking, accountability. You've reframed discomfort. Challenge is growth, not threat. You've built your identity. Discipline is who you are. The 90-day transformation guarantee. Follow these protocols completely for 90 days. You will build unshakable morning routines. Complete workouts you currently avoid. Finish projects you've procrastinated for years. Build habits that felt impossible. Become unrecognizable to your former self. Your brain will crave hard things because you've rewired the reward system. Others will ask what changed. You'll have a framework to share. Your next steps today. Complete one exercise from each chapter. Design your 90-second ignition sequence. Write your identity statement. Build your discipline dashboard. Find one accountability partner. Set calendar reminder for 90-day transformation check-in, the final truth. Discipline is the ultimate self-respect. Every promise kept to yourself builds trust with yourself. Hard stuff becomes rewarding stuff. You're not broken. You're untrained. The switch is real. You can flip it. Your brain can love discipline starting today. 6 months from now, you'll wish you started today. The best time was years ago. The second best time is now. You have everything you need. The only question, will you do it? Your disciplined life is waiting. Flip the switch.